Hi, my name is Christian here and welcome to the course. In this video, I'll use the getElementById method to manipulate a DOM element. If you remember from the previous video, the getElementById is one of many methods of the HTML collection API that's used to manipulate DOM elements. To get started, I'll use the developer tools or dev tools that comes with most modern web browsers. Here I'm using Google Chrome. To turn on the dev tools, simply press the function key F12. Or you can also press the Shift Control I on your PC or the Command Shift I on the Mac, and that should load the DevTools window. Your layout might look different than mine, but if you want, you can adjust it any way you like. I prefer to have mine docked on the right side so I have more room to type. What we're interested here are the elements and console windows. And if you don't see the console window below the elements window, you can press the escape key and that should turn on or load that window below it. And feel free to adjust the height of this window to give you more room to type. The elements window shows all the elements of the DOM object, the DOM tree, and allows me to target any of these elements I want. In this exercise, we're going to associate a click event to this second Yoda image here so that when it's clicked, this paragraph next to it will change to the color of blue. Okay, so once that's successful, we can then go back to the source code and apply the change. So let's take a look at the paragraph to see what ID we need to use to target this paragraph here. In the elements window, you see that in the second article tag, there is this paragraph here, and the ID used in this paragraph is called p-object-id. So once we know that ID, we just need to establish a connection or create a pointer to point to this particular tag. And so to do that in the console window, we'll start by typing a variable, and I'll call mine just p, and then assign the p to this document object and getElementById. As you can see here in the IntelliSense window, you have several options. In this case, we're just interested in the getElementById. And this method takes one argument, and that is the object or the ID name. So p-object-id, and that should do it. You also want to make sure that you type the name exactly as it is, because ID names and class names are case sensitive in HTML. So to verify that the P is actually pointing to that correct tag, we just want to type in the letter P and hit enter. And if you see that the P object is the return has the value, then that's a success. If you see a no value instead, then that means there's an error in your code somewhere, and you want to go back to the code and make the necessary changes. Now that the connection has been established, I can do all sorts of things to this element. For example, I can change the text color, and that's what we want. Or I can change the font type, the font size, provide a border, hide or change its content, or even add additional elements I want. Since we just want to change the color, we'll do just that. To change the text color, we use the method chaining to modify the color property. So I'll type p.style.color property is that, and I'll assign the value of blue. You can also use the hex value of #0000ff or #0f. That's fine too. And when I hit enter, you see that that paragraph changes to blue right away, and we know that works, so that is a success. Okay, so now we can go ahead and then transfer this over to the source code, and I'll do that by just first I'll copy this line of code so I don't have to type it again later, and I'll go into my source code. I'm using the WebStorm tool here, and I'll find the second paragraph. This is the paragraph I want to apply the changes to. This is the image I want to apply the unclick, so I'm going to add the unclick event here, and I will have it called a function called change color, which I will create next. Its color change color function takes no parameter, no value arguments. In the head section of this file, I will go ahead and embed my JavaScript with a function called change color, again with no arguments, no parameter. And I'm just going to paste in that variable p we did earlier in the dev window. Now the next line is basically to apply the style change of the color. Set that to blue. I will use the hex value in this case 0f, 00f in this case, and and that should be it. So I'm going to save this file and go back to my window again, the web page, and hit refresh. And if it works, when I click this window, this link here, it should change the color. As you can see, it does change the color, so that is a success. So when using the getElementById, you can only target one ID, and that's very important because you don't want to have duplicate IDs. Having duplicate ID names on the page, will not crash your page, but can cause some side effects. First, it will fail the W3C validator. Second, the getElementById will only grab the first occurrence of the ID, and so you might not get exactly what you wanted. And it might also cause some conflict with other JavaScript code. So now that you know how to manipulate DOM elements with the getElementById, next we'll learn how to manipulate elements with the getElementsByClass name.